So there's currently an incredibly strong delve farm that is not only really good in this first week of 11.2, but is also going to be really good once we get into season 3. And in fact, I think it will actually be better as we get into the first week of season 3. And this will allow you to farm basically everything you're normally wanting from delves, just much more easily than you can get it from doing anything else. And this will allow you to farm a lot of different things, a lot of brand experience, a lot of undercoins, a lot of the more utility items you can get from these delves. It will even allow you to have a lower chance of getting the gear you would normally get at the end of delves. To a lesser extent, it will also allow you to farm completions of delves. And doing this farm for a bit will allow you to get an achievement that also gives you a pretty cool new title as well. Now, this is going to be focused on farming the new Flicker Gates. So if you don't know what these are, there's some new mechanics for delves in patch 11.2. First off, you're going to need to go get your second cloak upgrade, which you are able to get this first week of patch 11.2. So once you go through the main campaign, you'll get your cloak and you'll get 3 threads, which will allow you to get upgrade number 1. And then you just have to go get 3 more threads through a bunch of different content that will allow you to get upgrade number 2, which is what will unlock these new delve mechanics. Now, the easiest way to get these threads for me was just to go complete delves on tier 1, because you can get threads at the end of the delve through the chest. So that's very easy to go get your cloak upgrade. Once you get these threads on one character, all of your characters get them. So once you get upgrade 2 on one character, your whole account has it. And this will unlock these new Flicker Gates. Now, Flicker Gates are very simple. They're just these voidy looking portal that can spawn in a bunch of different areas of a delve. You go click it and one of 2 things will happen. The first thing is it will just give you the reward the Flicker Gates can give, or it will spawn a copy of Kaivesa. She's much weaker than the actual Kaivesa, and you defeat her, and then she will give the reward you would normally get from the portal. Now, after you either defeat Kaivesa or click the portal and get the loot, it also has a chance to spawn the new ethereal routing stations, which are essentially delve skips, where it takes you into a separate room. It gives you one objective to do that's only in that room, whether it be defeat some bosses or defeat a bunch of enemies. Once you complete that objective, the delve is done. You walk to the end of the room and it gives you all of the delve loot that you would normally get, and it gives you the most amount of loot you could possibly get in that tier. So let's say you do a tier 11 that has the 4 possible nemesis groups that as you defeat them, the 3rd chest at the end of the delve upgrades more and more. It'll actually give you the max version of that chest. So these are basically just skips, but these seem a bit more rare, specifically from Flicker Gates, than just finding these routing station portals normally within delves. So this is going to be a lesser part of this farm, but they can pop up and are pretty nice. Now, there's a little bit of a difference in the rewards you can get depending on what happens after you click these Flicker Gates. If you just get the reward after clicking it and a Kaivesa clone does not spawn, it only has a chance to give you brand experience for some reason, but it seems everything else is basically the same. It seems you'll get the same amount of undercoins and the same amount of randomized utility loot from that. Now, I don't think I've gotten any of the random pieces of gear you can get at the end of a delve just from getting the loot from clicking the Flicker Gates. It may be that you need to get the Kaivesa clone to spawn, and that is what has a chance to also give you loot. But I'm not 100% certain on that, because getting actual gear pieces from these Flicker Gates is also decently rare. But from all of my testing, it seems a Kaivesa clone spawns a lot more than just getting the loot from the portal, so it really shouldn't be that big of a difference most of the time. And while all of the random utility items and things you can get from these portals stays pretty much the same no matter what tier you're on, the tier of the delve will determine how many undercoins and how much brand experience you get from them. So keep that in mind. I've been farming these on usually tier 8. On my character that's a bit more geared, I was farming this on tier 11 because that was much more easy. But there's also a way to make killing these Kaivesa clones much more easily because of the delve we're going to be running these on. Now, the delve we're going to be doing this farm in is the Nightfall Sanctum in Hollowfall. And there's a handful of reasons for this. First off, 2 of the stories that can be in this delve are just very strong to be able to easily get to every Flicker Gate spawn location. And secondarily, when you get into this delve, you start pretty high up so you can see almost the entirety of the delve. So you can see almost every Flicker Gate location from basically the start of the delve, allowing you to know if you want to go travel to a Flicker Gate or just leave the delve and reset. Now, for the best version of this farm, the 2 stories you want to look out for, which will be on the delve if you scroll scroll over it, is Chiron's Assault and Aiming to Get Even. Either one of those delve stories is basically going to double or more the effectiveness of this farm. But if it's the two other stories, you can do basically half of this farm, so half of the Flickergate locations, very easily as well. So while those will be a little bit less effective, it's still incredibly strong if you want to do it on either of the two other stories. Now, from all of my farming time within this delve, there are 7 different Flickergate spawn locations. And the reason that the two stories we went over are so good is because at the start of those two stories, there are either a cannon or a ballista that will allow you to just jump to the end of the delve, or what's usually the end of the delve. So basically just the other side of the delve. Because at the first area of the delve, there are 3 Flickergate spawn locations you can see very easily just from spawn. But then the 4 other spawns are on the other side of the delve. So these two stories allow you to just go to the start of the delve, look down at the 3 first spawn locations, see if they're there. If they're not, you just take the cannon or the ballista to the other side of the delve and look at the 4 other spawn locations. And how the farm is going to work is just that. You go up to the ledge, you look at the 3 first spawn locations, it will go over. If they're not there, you then take the ballista or the cannon to the other side of the delve, look at the 4 spawns there, and if nothing's up, you just leave the delve, rejoin in. If one's up, you just go to it, click on the Flickergate, and either get the loot, defeat Kai'Veza, or take the routing station portal and go to the next room and complete that version of the delve. So let's go through all of the different Flickergate spawn locations. So once you get into the delve and get to the first ledge, there's going to be 2 gates off to the right. You can see one's out on a rock in the water, one is up on the wood platform closer to you in a corner, and one is directly below you, below this scaffolding. Now, if you turn your camera correctly, you can actually see through these stairs on the scaffolding below you, and you'll be able to see through the crack and see if a gate spawned there. You should also be able to see like the purple glow through the scaffolding below you to see if that gate is there. You'll be able to see in the footage how I'm able to see the gates directly below you. But if any of those flicker gates in the first 3 areas spawn, you just jump down and go to the gate. But if none of them spawn, you then take the cannon or the ballista and you go and jump on the ship, on the floating airship that's at the other side of the delve. That will allow you to see all of the other locations very easily. One of the spawns is just on the ship itself. One of the spawns is in the back area that the stairs going down from the ship leads directly into. You'll be able to see that one easily. The other one is off to the left, up on one of the platforms, and then the other one is down directly at the waterfall. So you have to look under the ship at the waterfall. The waterfall one you should also be able to see from spawn pretty easily as well. And that's the 7 Flickergate spawn locations I have found. There may be another one super hidden, but those are the 7 ones you should be looking for. And if you're doing it on 2 of the stories I mentioned, Chiron's Assault or Aiming to Get Even, is incredibly fast to see if a gate's up, go complete it, and leave the delve and rejoin. And this will just allow you to farm a ton of these items very quickly. Now, a really good tip for the Nightfall Sanctum is that no matter what version of the Nightfall Sanctum you're in, there are the purple traps that you step in, and then it just sends like dozens of artillery rounds at you as circles below you. These circles, these artillery rounds, hurt enemies. So keep that in mind, because 6 of the 7 Flickergate locations, you can very easily kite Kai'Veza to one of these traps and just keep proccing the trap and just keep hitting Kai'Veza with these artillery rounds. And it does a lot of damage and will just help you complete them significantly more quickly than you could do normally. The only one you can't do this with is the portal that spawns on the rock out in the water. So maybe if you're super under geared, maybe don't do that one, but it's generally fine. And if you have a brand that you're going to be leveling up a lot, you generally should be able to do these pretty easily. You can also just lower the difficulty if you're having issues with this. Also, if you're a tank, like I've been doing this on a Blood Death Knight, you can just easily soak these artillery rounds. For DPS or maybe even healers, just kind of run around so you're not getting hit by them, but Kai'Veza or other enemies are. Now, besides all of the loot we went over that you can get from these flicker gates, there are 2 utility items that you want to keep an eye out for that are incredibly strong that you can get from these flicker gates. First off is the Shrieking Quartz. Now, what this does is this spawns in the Nemesis version of Kai'Veza into your delve. You have to go and get the respawn point in the delve, but then you can use this and it guarantees spawns Kai'Veza as her Nemesis version into your delve. Now, once season 3 starts, this is very important because this is how you get your guaranteed Delver's Bounty map for the week, which if you don't know, that gives you a much higher piece of loot that you can get once per week and goes off of the tier of delve you complete once you use it. After the start of season 2, this is how you get that guaranteed map now. And you can rarely get these from the flicker gates. Like, I think I have like 10 of these on my Death Knight now, and I haven't been farming this for a crazy amount of time yet. But the reason this is so good is because these normally cost 2,000 undercoins at the vendor, and undercoins are actually going to be very strong, especially at the start of season 3. The other thing is called Loot Raid R Mini. These are less important, but these show all of the little loot curiosity things you can get in the delves, which at the start of a new season are actually really strong because specifically in bountiful delves, they give Bran a ton of experience. These just put like a big symbol over all of them, and you get a lot more of these than you get the Shrieking Quartz, and normally you'd be buying these for 1,000 undercoins. So again, that's a lot of undercoins when undercoins are going to be very strong this season, and you probably wouldn't even normally buy these Loot Raid R Minis normally, but since you can get a bunch of them free from this, they're incredibly strong. But the Shrieking Quartz is just going to save you so many undercoins, especially if you play a bunch of alts, because you want to get your one map per week, and this is the guaranteed way to do it very quickly. So spending 2,000 undercoins per character would normally be crazy, but all of these items are warband bound, so you can just send them to your other characters very easily, and you can get a bunch from doing this farm, and you can just save tens of thousands of undercoins per week. So you'll just be gaining ridiculous amounts of undercoins doing this farm, saving a ridiculous amount of undercoins by getting these items. And like I mentioned, undercoins are going to be very strong this season. First off, you still have just all of the cosmetics and other items you can buy from the vendor with them. And once you get to a certain Delver's Journey rank, you can also just buy the catch-up gear with undercoins from the vendor as well. But also something specific to season 3 now that's going to be incredibly strong is that once you get rank 3 in the Delver's Journey and do a tier 9 or above delve, at the end of that delve, there will be a vendor that spawns and will sell you any of the delve trinkets on champion track for 2,000 undercoins. So any of your characters, any of your alts that don't have champion track trinkets, or if there are just really good delve trinkets at champion track, you can go complete a tier 9 delve on any of those characters and just buy champion track trinkets for 2,000 undercoins a piece. So a lot of my alts, because I didn't play a ton in season 2, just don't have trinkets at high item level. So on basically all of my alts, I'm going to be going and buying 2 trinkets for them. So that's 4,000 undercoins per character, which is a lot. So being able to save a ton through this farm and gain a ton through this farm is going to be very good if you play a lot of alts. But that's pretty much the entirety of this farm. This is probably the best delve farm I have seen so far in this expansion. It's absolutely ridiculous for a lot of different reasons. But that's all I want to go over. So thanks for watching.